Hi everyone, it's Lindsay with High Altitude Astrology. And today I want to talk with you about the upcoming transit of Venus in Scorpio opposite Uranus and Taurus. Now, to give you just a little bit of background, the two planets conjuncted in May of 2019 on the 18th at 3 degrees of Taurus. Then in August, by that time, Venus had moved into the sign of Leo and was squaring Uranus at 6 degrees of Taurus. So this was considered the opening square. So the conjunction is like the beginning, the new moon seed planting time. Then in August, there was the opening square where we begin to kind of get some perhaps revelation or inner kind of stirrings about shifts and changes that might need to occur. And then in October 13th, which is, the 12th, which is the upcoming opposition, this will happen with Venus in Scorpio at 5 degrees, opposing Uranus, which is now retrograde, at 5 degrees. And this is considered, the opposition is like the full moon. This is really the revelatory time where we sort of take stock of things and see what's working, see what's not. It's like our consciousness is being illuminated around the issues that these planets signify. And then what will happen moving forward is that in March of 2020, we will get the conjunction again. And this is at 4 degrees of Taurus. Uranus will be direct by then, and the starting essentially of a new cycle will happen. Okay, so what does this Venus opposite Taurus, Uranus and Taurus signify? Well, I have pulled up here the chart, and you can see Venus right here is at 5 degrees of Scorpio, and Uranus is at 5 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus in Taurus, this is a longer cycle that's going to be occurring over the next 6 years or so. And Uranus is all about change. It's a disruptor, but it's not for anything needless. It's to progress us. Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. Uranus is all about change and wanting to really advance things. You know, it is related to the concept of humanity and recognizing everybody as an individual. And so when we have Uranus in Taurus, Taurus is the energy of, well, first of all, it's ruled by Venus, but it's the energy of security and of our values and, in a sense, like what's important to us. It does rule money and how we create money, security through monetary value in our life, but also what are our personal values? What are we drawn to? What are our tastes? What are our likes? What brings us pleasure? So to have Uranus in Taurus for this longer period of time is really going to help us all collectively, not only personally, but as a collective, kind of hone in on and tune into what we truly value, what truly brings us pleasure, what really truly satisfies our tastes. And in the process, it's actually going to elevate humanity. It's going to, because if we're all really tuning into that part of ourselves, it's going to eliminate some of the problems or some of the complications that occur when we're not in tune with that, and when we're perhaps doing things that are not really in alignment with what we value, or not really in alignment with what really pleases us, or what really brings us pleasure. It also may bring up the opportunity for many of us to align with work or ways of bringing income into our lives that really uh, satisfies us and that really brings us pleasure. Now, Uranus may also sort of elevate our awareness, helping us realize that we don't really need all the things that we kind of have thought we've needed in the past. We don't necessarily need, as much perhaps, because again, Uranus is about progressing humanity. And, we can see with things like climate change or, some of these collective issues that we're facing together, that we're needing to move into a new way of relating to personal values, what we value, and how what we value, the impact that it has on the whole. That is really a Uranian idea, is how is what we do affecting everybody? Because Uranus wants to really sort of heighten or raise our consciousness and raise our awareness so that, we're not harming people, so that we are thinking of the group and thinking of the whole in the actions that we take. So that's a little bit about Uranus and Taurus. It's a little bit of a contradiction because Uranus is about humanity and the collective, and Taurus is more about the personal and the self. But the opportunity is there to ask the question and to really make some changes that in some way find, kind of like a balance between the two energies. How can we put forth or go after the things that we desire in life, or the things that create security for us in life, with the concept of thinking of the whole, or thinking of humanity in the process. I don't think it means we shouldn't have personal desires or we shouldn't have what things that we value, or things that we connected to our tastes and our likes. But I think it's going to help us refine them so that they're more really in harmony with the whole, rather than harmful to the whole. Now, what is opposite that Uranus at this time, and this, by the way, is happening on Saturday, October 12th at 3:06 p.m. Pacific time, and this is what the chart is for at that moment. You can see here we've got Venus in Scorpio. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So it tells us a little bit more at this time about what it is, what it is we are desiring, what it is we are valuing, what it is that we need to create security. Venus is our pleasures, our tastes, our loving energy, our creative energy. It's our relationship energy. And Scorpio is all about like transformation and going deep and really identifying what it is we truly desire. And if we are not really feeling that connection to what we really desire, something has to change. Something has to transform. So Venus in Scorpio is a time where we can really get in touch on a very deep level with what it is we desire. And if it's not there, we have to get really honest. That's a very Scorpio quality. Honest with ourselves and honest with others that we're in relationship with about how we feel. And there's an opportunity here to really dive deeply into our feelings and really express our truth. I'll bring up an example because I've been feeling this energy myself, even though it's culminating on this day coming up on Saturday. But I had sort of like an old um, flame come back into my life, and um, there was it was a nice reunion and reconnection. But at the same time, there was this lingering feeling of like that something's not right here for me. I don't want to go back and repeat this. I don't want to kind of revive this situation. I've already been down this road, and so and it made me a little uncomfortable because I didn't really know how to really communicate that, or didn't feel like I knew how to communicate that very well, or didn't want to communicate that. I mean, sometimes Venus in Scorpio just wants to sort of slip away, ignore, disappear, and not really get to the bottom of things by having to confront it. It can be a little bit easier to just sort of cut it off and not discuss it. But I think, with this Uranus and Taurus opposition, and the oppositions, again, it's like a full moon energy. It's like culmination, revelation, seeing things, seeing if we've sort of manifested, or if it's time to sort of let things go and prepare for the next new cycle that will be coming up, which I expressed, I think, was in January between March, between Venus and Uranus, when they conjunct again, of 2020, I should say. So what we can expect. Oh, let me complete that thought. The Uranus and Taurus is saying, the way to progress in a humane way for humanity is to really express what I desire, what we desire, our needs, what brings us security, what feels good to us. So even though Venus and Scorpio, it may feel a little uncomfortable to get to that place. I mean, Scorpio, there is a lot of power in Scorpio energy, but we have to make it very conscious and very aware, because Scorpio deals with the underworld. Scorpio deals with what's hidden below the surface or unconscious. So it can be easy to kind of slip into unconsciousness. And then that's when we get into this, we're acting more motivated by manipulation and by secrecy and by hiding, because we don't necessarily want to bring it all out up to the surface. It's uncomfortable, but it's also liberating and it's also freeing. So this Venus in Scorpio is asking us to really take the time and make the effort, to really get honest. And with the opposition to Uranus, it may be involving change. It may be involving disruption. Again, Uranus is about, stirring things up, but it's ultimately to progress us, and it's ultimately to progress humanity, So in some ways, it's like we have a responsibility to really get honest and to really, share about what it is we're really feeling and what it is we're really desiring. It doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve anybody to stay put in situations that don't feel good. It doesn't. And this is a time, especially with Uranus now in Taurus, that's saying to us, we really can connect with what brings us a real feeling of security, and what our truth is around that. Uranus is about truth too. Uranus it's about our individuality and expressing our truth. So it's a very interesting time to have this dynamic coming up. And, other ways that it could manifest, it doesn't just have to be in a personal relationship, but this could be like any sort of creative expression, realizing like, oh, I want to start, putting my energy creatively in a new way, in a new direction. Or is my work really satisfying me? Is there some other kind of work that I'm interested in pursuing? Um, these are other ways that this Venus opposite Uranus energy can manifest, but it really does, the chart kind of does speak to relationships, because there's some other things happening in the chart at that time. If you look here, Mars in Libra is 30 degrees away from this Venus in Scorpio. And these are the two relationship energies, Mars being the male, assertive, going after what we desire principle, whereas Venus is more of the receptive, this is what feels good, this is what I like kind of energy. But they're both part of relationships. So, this connection between the two in the chart at this time is a symbol that this opposition could be relating, more to relationships in our life, especially because the sun is in the sign of Libra, which is the energy of relationships. Libra is all about creating harmony and balance, and it's ruled by Venus, the planet of love and beauty. And so our the way we bring ourselves out into the world right now, the way we shine our light, is about wanting to find harmony and balance between ourselves and others. But this 30-degree angle between Mars and Venus, it's like it's halfway between to a sextile, which is about an opportunity. So we might be beginning to see, like, how are we wanting to, create opportunity, the opportunities that we really, really want in the relationships that we're cultivating. How do we find Mars in Libra, which is balance, and expressing ourselves, in a way that is fair and just, going after our desires in a way that's fair and just. But Venus is in Scorpio, and that's like, and it really has to make me feel good. I really have to desire it. I really have to want it, and this Mars and Libra could be helping us, weigh and balance how we go after what we want. Because Venus may be like, yeah, but Mars is like, all right, and if what we have been going after isn't really fulfilling our desires and our needs, then it's time to move things around so that it is fair and balanced, because we don't want to be, again, harming people by being staying quiet, or not being honest, or manipulating. Sometimes Venus in Scorpio, it's like, well, gosh, that dinner out sounds good to me, or that's a nice treasure that this person wants to offer me. So there's something about the shared resources energy of Scorpio that Venus could really like get into enjoying, but again, we have to really look at, but where is the fair and balanced assertion of our nature coming into this process? What else is going on in this chart? This is happening just before the full moon, by the way. The moon will have moved into Aries by this time. And you can see it's starting to move towards the opposition to the sun. So I see this really as sort of kind of some lead up energy to the full moon that's going to happen on Sunday, the 13th at 3:00 I'm sorry, 2:08 Pacific Standard Time at 20 degrees of Aries. So that full moon is going to be right about here, opposing the sun. And this is, this full moon is going to bring up a lot of relationship stuff because it's on the relationship axis of Aries. The moon will be in Aries, which is the self, and then the sun will be in Libra, which is the other. So, we are really moving into a culmination time in relationships with others that this full moon is going to sort of peak us out at. And I will do another video about the full moon, but I find it interesting that this Venus opposite Uranus is going to be happening just prior to the full moon, because I think it's going to be really setting the stage, for what the full moon is going to ultimately be revealing to us and showing us. And that stage is about really identifying and changing in accordance with what we really find pleasurable, what our tastes really are, where we want to express ourselves creatively in our life, what relationships we really want to have in our life, and Uranus is going to sort of shock us or awaken us to what we, truly do desire, what we truly do connect with, and what our tastes really are, and what our pleasures really are, and what's really valuable to us, and what really has meaning for us. So I think that's about all I want to share about this chart at this time, but I hope this helps you all, think about, as we move to this Venus opposite Uranus moment on Saturday, October 12th, how we can wake up to awareness around this dynamic within ourselves, within our relationships with other people, and just stay open to the possibility that we may be needing to make some changes for ourselves. We may be needing to align ourselves more with what's truly true for us in our lives around these issues. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please subscribe. And I will be coming back with some more videos for you very soon. Thank you so much. Take care.